Hey people, so I am back for my project What's It Like Being White. We're halfway through October, we're in Richmond Park. I'm with my pal Ben.
Hey.
And me and Ben speak about race quite often, don't we?
Yeah.
And I just said, oh look, do you want to have a quick chat about your whiteness? And he said yeah. So Ben, how did you grow up? Like, whereabouts in England did you grow up?
Grew up in the Peak District in Mosley, Greater Manchester.
And you say Mosley?
Mosley, it's Mosley. She says Mosley. She always takes the piss out of me from where I come from.
No, I like the accent.
Yeah, it's in the hills, very rural, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's just like, what is it, like 20 minutes on the train from Manchester?
20 minutes on the train from Manchester City Centre. So, but yeah, like Mosley's a very white place, really white. I think, honestly, it was maybe 2 black kids in my primary school.
Oh, poor them.
Yeah. And honestly, you don't. I was having a discussion recently with a guy I was seeing from Mosley who's a man of colour, and my dad fronted me on whether he'd been there for as long as he had been. So I said like, Uriah had been living in Mosley, all his life. And my dad was like, no, I've never seen him around. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of place.
Oh, because you'd know.
Because he'd have seen him. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, wow, okay, yeah.
So when do you think you was introduced to the fact that you was white? Like, when did you first start having conversations where people was saying, look, you're a white guy? Like,
yeah. That was when it was a partner of my mate Levi. Yeah, I think the first time
Levi's black.
Yeah, Levi's black, and it was the first time I'd heard the phrase white privilege, and it was through them. And yeah, like, to be honest, it went back then, 5 years ago, whatever. White privilege to me was, like, I had no idea of what it was, and it was through watching Dear White People as well. I remember us all watching that together as a group, and me being so like I felt so sort of, do you know what I mean, like sick about, like, I don't know, like, I felt shocked that I'd had black friends for so long, but I couldn't laugh along with it, or like that the way that they could, like they were laughing along with it, like, or not laughing along with it. It was.
I love that. Yeah.
But like for me, I was like, it was almost like the first time I'd identified with the fact of the problematic things that white people do, or like, do you know what I mean? And it just seemed I was very uncomfortable. Yeah. Whereas it seemed like a lot of my black mates, or even not even black mates, white mates who had sort of confronted this before, I'd heard about it, talked about it before, or like, do you know what I mean, were way woker than me. I wasn't woke at all. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Let's cut there. So you were saying that you were having discussions now with white people about white privilege.
So yeah, when people used to have discussions with me about white privilege, and I would be quite defensive about it, and not just because I didn't understand it. For me it was a very loaded term, and I didn't, white privilege just seemed very sort of, it felt like a personal attack. And I remember a friend of mine saying, being really annoyed that I was taking it personally. And
I was there.
Yeah, you were there, and I because that person, for me, I always saw as very privileged in a certain sense, because he grew up in London, and he'd been to private school and had went on to have a great tertiary education, and I just thought, yeah, who the fuck are you, like, talking about privilege? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I understand obviously now that that's not what it's about. Yeah. White privilege is a general thing. It's not for all white people have
privilege, but you always know that you will never be treated differently because of the colour of your skin. That's basically the privilege.
Yeah.
You can be born poor.
Exactly.
You can, you could have lost your mum at a young age.
Yeah.
You could have got kicked out of school. These things can happen when you're white, but none of these things happen because you're white.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sad. It's like if I was saying to someone recently, it's if a white person and a black person are born in the same town by a similar family, with a social, a similar or same socio-economic stance. That those two people's progression in life, like, the white person is probably going to have will have an easier time. You know, it was like a stat at uni that I read about recently.
No, that's true. And also, do you know that black graduates
I was
still
just about to say
earn
this.
less than white people that left school at 16?
But also, black students at university do like almost do worse than their white counterparts expected or something. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, also at high school as well.
No,
in
but like,
predicted grades
their predicted
are always lower. Yeah.
Well, or not that they do, not that they do worse.
No, they're predicted lower, but then they do better, and then they're like, oh wow, they got B's.
No, as in like, so a white person, student A, black person, student B, enter university with the same academic history, same academic intelligence. When they come out of university, the white student compared to the black student, because of like the discrimination that black person has faced, depression or whatever. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but the like, you know, statistically they almost do a lot worse.
Yeah, of course. That's throughout though, isn't it?
Sorry, yeah, I know. For me, I just didn't. That's something that was new to me as well.
Let me cut that. Let's start again. They're crying.
What?
Because it's gonna rain.
I
think. Okay. So you've been having these discussions with white people, like your family members, basically.
Yeah. So I have, and through being educated by my black friends mainly. Like, do you know what I mean? Honestly, I think without that, I still think I'd be way more ignorant than I am now. And having uncomfortable conversations and actually confronting all of that stuff, and like, you know, admitting that you know, I was a bit of a fucking idiot, do you know what I mean, or just, you know, just ignorant. So
but I expect that, like, I just mean, unless you grew up around black and brown people, or you've done your reading, you know the history, quite often a lot of white people usually will get it wrong quite often, or they're quite afraid to want to get to know it because they're scared they're going to say the wrong thing. But I also hate when people say I'm scared I'm going to say the wrong thing, because what are you going to blurt out and say by accident? Like, you're never going to say the wrong thing if you're coming from realness.
Yeah, people, a lot of people aren't real, and but also a lot of people don't. Like, a lot of white people don't talk to people of colour about race. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not something that they. And don't actually talk about race in general. Do you know what I mean? Don't need to. So like, it's an uncomfortable territory to them. So it's like, you know, if you talk to someone about politics who don't know much about politics, they're gonna be like, they might not say much, or do you know what I mean? Or, I don't know, like, that's just something. But I also, you know, but I think, you know, it's our responsibility to talk more about it, and also it's okay to be fucking wrong. Do you know what I mean? And like, I think that's why that's a good point for people to understand as well, like other white people who might not understand what white privilege is and whatever. Like, actually, just fucking, you know, open your ears, listen to what people are saying about it, and try not to personalise it, definitely, like I have.
So what, you know, you spoke about the fears of equality. You know, you said go on.
Well, just like, I've been racking my brains as to like why so many white people are so hating on the Black Lives Matter thing, and I was seeing it as like, if you've got two groups of people, if one, you know, you've got black people here, white people here, in terms of, you know, societal
levels.
Yeah.
Quality of life, or and then, you know, black people, because of a movement, might get a little bit higher up. Then the white people then like get really scared about that. Do they move down, or do they become? Does that disparity become less, and therefore does their power decrease? And I think also people just are very scared of change. I think like and change is inevitable, but like a lot of people are scared. You get used to it.
Of course.
But I also think that people need to remember that population in the UK is only 3% black. Like,
but I think a lot of white people as well don't know that they're privileged. A lot of white people like wake up and think, oh, you know, Like my life's rough
and
shit
it is for a lot of people in the UK. We've got really high poverty levels.
Yeah.
Like life is really tough for a lot of people in the UK. No one's saying it isn't.
No.
Life is deep. Life is so expensive.
But I think when the term white privilege, all they hear is privilege, and they think, I'm not privileged.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what it is.
That's the big thing.
Because I still don't know what the answers to all that and what that's about and all of. But I can as a white person maybe I can try and
but I get
relate
that.
to it a little bit
I
more.
get that when you know people that got not much and they're just getting by.
Yeah.
I know why they get. I can see it.
Yeah, and I see
it.
And I was speaking to someone recently who was like, white privilege. Like, look at Lewis Hamilton. Like, you know what I mean? Look how privileged he is. Look at me, and I'm thinking
the amount of crap he went through to get where he is,
yeah.
and he's still getting stuff now.
And also, like the only black
F1 driver, I'm sure.
And
probably for years, but I don't know.
And also, it's not really even about that, is it? Like, one black person doing well. Do you know what I mean? Or like one black person in the whatever it is tournament who's doing well or whatever. But yeah.
It's raining.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything? Say to the people. Listen, learn, grow.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of being. Just say what you think and like don't be afraid of being like saying the wrong thing or being not being attacked, but just being checked on your ignorance, because we are ignorant. Yeah, we've not. That's our privilege to be ignorant, basically.
You never really have to think about it.
Yeah.
You're chilling.
That's the privilege.
Yeah.
So yeah. Like it's just be open and
it's really raining now. Yeah?
All right. Be open, lol.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, back again. What's it like being white? This is my Black History Month series. We're in Angel. It's a Sunday. It's relaxed. I'm with Phoebe. Phoebe, you're from High Wycombe.
Yeah.
Just outside of London. And you are what, like the Daily Mail readers would describe as a left loony, right?
Yeah, lefty loony.
Lefty, privately educated. Yeah. You work for a charity that looks after migrants, helping them learn English.
Yeah, that's
in a
right.
Political way, right?
Yeah.
So you're typical. You like your drum and bass? No, you don't like drum and bass, do you?
I'm partial to drum and bass.
Yeah, you're a vegetarian. Are you veggie?
I'm not veggie. I know I look veggie. I look vegan.
Yeah.
I am a little hippie at heart. But,
yeah.
I try not to be a crusty hippie.
And you wanted to jump on this and talk a little bit about white saviorism, right?
Yeah, I just think it's interesting what you're doing. I love your work, and I thought it was a good chance for a white person to talk about whiteness, because we're never asked about that. We're always given opportunities to shy away from it and not face up to race and whiteness. So I was like, okay, I'm alright. I hate being on camera, but here we go.
But like, so you have been, you're an activist, right?
Yeah, I would say I'm an activist. I'm a campaigner, and like, the work that I do is around like political community organising. But what's really interesting is how I became politicised, and it was, I can remember a moment, I was 15, and I was just like doing normal teenager stuff, like on MSN after school every day, talking to my friends, like not doing much. But then I had the opportunity to go on a school trip. So I'm at a private school, all girls school.
In High Wycombe.
In High Wycombe.
Is that near Reading?
Reading, yeah.
North of London, just on your way to Oxford.
Northwest. Yeah,
Northwest.
Oxford.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could go on this school trip, and weirdly, it was to an old British colony, the Gambia, a very small West African country, and it was like a school trip where you do volunteerism, which is this thing where you kind of go out as a volunteer and help in these developing countries.
The blacks.
Yeah, and like do really useless things basically. Like we were just painting and like cleaning out a school. And
I hate that part of Africa as well. It's like chopped. It's really chopped up. It's like there's like it's a slither.
Small countries.
It's chopped up.
And so I went on this trip and did this like pretty useless volunteering project for a week, and then I came, and it gave me a chance to see inequality for the first time. And I know that's strange, get to the age of 15 and only then like be aware of inequality, but I wasn't aware of it in my own country. I was aware of it in a different part of the world,
a different continent.
Different continent. And
let's cut there. Okay, so you're in West Africa, you're 16, and you go over there to clean up, graffiti, paint, colour?
Paint classrooms.
Right. And you got the photos with the black kids,
Yeah, seen extreme poverty for the first time, and, you know, had my, like, wake up moment.
Went back to England, and then you
went back to England, and, you know, was talking to friends and parents and teachers about it, and what I think is all too common for middle class white people is, you know, when they have this moment of like awakening to like inequality and racism and stuff, they get stuck. I think what happened to me was I got stuck in this path of white saviourness, because, you know, I wanted to help, I wanted to like do good in the world, and and like not just sit around on MSN anymore. But
it gave you a purpose.
I suppose so, but the thing is,
because I think sometimes when you are middle class and you have got a nice, comfortable life, you might not necessarily have purpose. But when you grow up without much, you can sometimes have more purpose to do something because you're chasing something that you know you don't have.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe like looking for purpose in the world. I don't know. But I feel like where I got stuck and where it's really problematic is that this around my centering my whiteness and like getting and acting out this age-old thing of this very like paternalistic white person helps black and brown
I am
poor
here
people.
To save the day.
And it's, you know, it's age-old that you know, and the thing is, parents and teachers and friends were not questioning that, and like we were getting praise for doing this, for fundraising and going and helping in these poor countries.
Do you think you were shown to feel sorry more for people in Africa than people in Britain who were living without much?
Well, I just didn't even think about like my own country and the own inequality around me. I just didn't even think about that until I went to uni and like started talking to people who, you know, from different backgrounds, and started to get involved in you know, like anti-austerity activism and things that affected me as well for the first time, like student fees and cuts activism. And then I started to realise, like, you know, there's extreme poverty in the UK, there's extreme inequality right here on our doorstep, and this weird like white saviour thing of like going across to a different continent to like sort out development problems that actually white people created.
And that's why I speak about the fact that some parts of Africa are like chopped up into like little slivers or the large slabs, because there was a thing called Scramble for Africa where Europe leaders decided who got what in Africa. So when you look at the map and you look at the country of Africa, you'll see that sometimes a country looks like that, country looks like that, country looks like that, or a triangle, like just random shapes, and it's all because Europe went so that's why I said that.
So, you know, it's just basically this sort of volunteerism thing is perpetuating colonialist projects. And I fell into that trap for a good number of years, and I think I really hope and pray that people nowadays, like young people, are able to educate themselves earlier and are educating each other earlier because of social media, like
I think
Google.
so. Well, remember that song Gap Year, the Gap Year?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, you know, people talk about Gap Year.
I'm sure it's...
So now it's not cool to go on a Gap Year.
It's not cool, but I think it probably still happens.
Yeah, it will do in some...
And, but, you know, I just think, back then, like, it was really, really bad. And it was something that is, like, a part of my history of becoming an activist. And I have to, like, be aware of that. And
So, I won't start the timer until I finish the question. Okay. How are you feeling?
Yeah, nervous.
Yeah?
I'm bad on the spot.
You're bad on the spot?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you are a good representation for white people?
You've
had quite a white upbringing,
as white
right?
as it gets.
Yeah, you've got white sisters, white mum and dad.
Yeah.
So you should do quite well, right?
Yeah.
So once the question has finished, I will start the clock. You
Yeah.
ready, Phoebe?
Yeah,
Thank
ready.
you very much. So tell me, Phoebe, what is white people's favourite alcohol drink? Go.
Champagne? Prosecco.
Great answer. Let me restart the clock. Brilliant. Okay, Phoebe. Is it true that all white people like strong tasting cheese? Blue cheese,
Yeah, a
goat
little
cheese?
bit of blue. I think the mouldier the better. The bluer.
Should we give it that answer? I think we'll give it that answer. Well done. You're doing brilliantly, Phoebe. How do you feel?
Yeah, pretty white.
Next question. You ready? What is white people's favourite facial expression? Go. You've got to do it to the camera.
Right, okay.
It's 5 seconds. Yeah, we'll give it that one.
Pretty patronising, like sympathetic, like.
Oh.
Yeah, I should have added the nod in there.
It must be so hard. Okay, next question, and this is the final question. What is white people's equivalent song to black people's candy song?
Oh, yeah.
10 seconds.
It's the Macarena, isn't it?
Oh my God, you have killed me! With 3 seconds to go, the Macarena!
Wow.
That